Hey guys, I just want to let you know, if you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain, okay? So it's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or a computer. Anchor will also distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. That's right. And it's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Nothing beats that. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. All right, welcome back. I really hope that this finds you at a time that you needed the most and that you're honestly at a point in your life that you're, pretty much making decisions on a day-to-day basis to understand that we don't really design our destinies, we design our habits. And because of those habits, we will either fulfill our purpose for our life or just kind of live a life that, with no purpose. So I want you guys to understand in the previous chapter when we talked about essence and are you really self-aware, the things that we've been discussing. If you haven't seen the last 2 episodes on this series and this season of self-awareness, I really, really want you to go back, and I would love for you to listen and really start to apply from week to week one thing that essentially could change your entire trajectory of where you think maybe your life isn't headed, because the main focus is on where it is. So I really want you to start telling yourself start telling yourself this, Stop and ask yourself why you do the things that you do. So when I first discovered this, I want to say maybe within the last year and a half, I had to really, ask myself, why is it that I do the things that I do? Why do I react certain ways? Why do my reactions come when they do? Why do I feel the certain emotions when they do? And what are they teaching me? Which is the main thing that I really wanted to learn. Like, I understand what anger is. I understand when I have feelings of sadness, of joy, and moments. But I also understand that I'm not meant to stay in those specific emotions, all day, every day. So I'm becoming more self-aware and how I can grow abundantly when I began to seek out the source of where my feelings were coming from and what was causing them. I've learned that my happiness doesn't come from a specific person. I've learned that my happiness doesn't come from specific things or material things or certain things, but there are desires in me that do make me happy and goals once I accomplish them. But that's not my sole purpose for doing these things. It's not after, a search of an emotion. It's not after a feeling of happiness. I hear a lot of people say, when I lose the weight, when I lose those 30 pounds, I'll be really happy. When I fit into these clothes, I'll be really happy. When, I'm able to do this, I'll be really happy. When my kids leave, I'll be really happy because I'll start working on myself. When there's certain things in my life, when I reach a new rank in my company, I'll be really happy. And I've realized that if you continue to chase those things, if you continue to work from that place, that you'll never be truly happy. You'll never have this true, blissful, peaceful joy that I've been able to witness in certain aspects of my life. And I will let you know this. I love to work. I love to work, whether it's physical, whether it's mental, whether it's emotional. I just love working. And that is an attribute that no matter what happens in life, if I had everything taken away, that I still carry that attribute and I would learn how to build it better, bigger, faster, right? So I love to work. Now, do I love to work in all things? No, I love to work in my creativity. I love to work in things that I love. I love to work when I feel like, man, like this is something I want to do. Now, I just told you, you can't always just tell yourself that you're going to do things when you feel like it. So there are certain areas of my life where I don't love to work, hard. Certain areas of my life that I could not necessarily putting enough effort and work, and I would personally be okay. But are the people around me okay? Is my spouse okay if I don't put work and effort into our marriage? Are my kids okay if I don't put work and effort into trying to homeschool when I had to, through quarantine? Or not even that. It wasn't even the work and the effort having to homeschool them. It was the work and the effort of me not having to become frustrated because that was our circumstances and our situation in the moment. So sometimes we think it's something, but at the end of the day, it's a different type of root cause to certain things, right? So I had to be really aware of what I didn't like doing versus what I did like doing. And I had to understand that not everything, I don't like to do certain things, but if you learn to build a discipline and you learn to tell yourself, I may not feel like doing this right now, but I know essentially this is going to pay off. I've learned that will give you more return on investment, not just for you, for your family, for the people around you, but for generations to come, because now you are evaluating yourself and not allowing your emotions to run your life, but most importantly, not allowing your emotions to run your day, because essentially that's essentially what's going to run your life. So these emotions and these feelings that we get from day to day serve such an important purpose in our life, you guys. Like, they literally give us clues into the things that we will never be able to understand if we don't really take the time to ask ourselves or call ourselves out on our own BS and check our hearts and say, okay, why am I doing this? Why am I really doing this? Why am I really aggravated on my kid? Why is this business relationship really frustrating me? Is my husband annoying me? Why do I feel like, the way that I'm running my business is not currently working at the time, right? And I do want to let you know, emotions are not all bad, especially when we consider, remember we were talking about not classifying them, but when we feel frustrated, I had to learn that when I have those feelings of frustration, that they were trying to teach me something, that there was an origin and a place for them, that I had to make sure that I allowed myself the time and the energy to really focus on why and the root cause of it, right? So most of the days, you guys, I don't know if this is you or if you've noticed it, but I've been more aware of it, is, if we allow social media to run our lives, if we allow certain things to cause us to be happy, or we constantly go to something to give us pleasure to be happy in certain ways. I'm not just talking one specific thing. I'm talking about anything. It can be video games. It could be, smoking a cigarette. It could be, the healthy things that most people consider healthy, like, overeating. When someone that's trying to gain weight tells someone that is overeating, like, man, I wish I had that problem. Honestly, you don't. Maybe that person on the other side wished that they weren't overeating, but that was just their core setting and their way to compensate the emotions that they were feeling. So now they have to ask themselves stop and ask themselves, why am I doing this? Why am I overeating? Why am I over going to the gym? Why am I over killing myself? And the root problem is something else. Maybe they just never really have self-worth, so now they're going off of their image and their confidence, right? I've been through a lot of periods in my life where I really had to check my heart. I really had to let God work in me and continue to work in me to say, you know what? Why are you feeling the way that you're feeling? And how can you become better because of it? So I want you to challenge yourself. I want you to challenge yourself and ask yourself, where can I trace back my emotional reactions? What can I trace them back to? For example, there was a period in my life when I was younger, and anytime that I went through a heartbreak, my body would just shut down. I would not eat. I would go weeks without, like, maybe picking up some things. And it wasn't like it was bad. I just didn't realize that this was not normal, right? Until someone pointed it out to me and said, hey, I've seen that you've lost weight. And then I didn't realize it until I actually checked and stepped on a scale, and I lost 10 pounds in a week. To someone else that is trying to lose 10 pounds and they've never been able to, that's great. They may say, wow, like, I wish I had that. Like, that's goals. But for me at the time, I was going through a heartache. I was going through something that I let myself really, really feel my emotions physically to the point where it really started to affect me in other areas of my life. I was having like fog moments. My brain was in fog. I was like, tired all the time. I was fatigued. I wasn't feeling well. I was easily annoyed. And I started to realize that my body and my core setting compensated for this in this specific way. So I had to ask myself, and as I started growing through that process, because I have had different types of heartaches through my life, I had to ask myself, okay, why? Why did you feel this way? And if this ever happens again, how can you overcome this? So after the first couple of times that it happened in my life, I started to realize that when I have heartache, I still must treat my body properly. I still have to make sure that I go through my periods of grieving, but I have to make sure that I don't let it overconsume my life, because then if not, what is going to happen? I then get consumed by my emotions. I allow certain situations and feelings to evoke certain reactions in me. And I've realized that I can't place my confidence in things that no longer serve me. And at that moment in my time, I just didn't have an appetite, right? I didn't have an appetite. So I had to relearn to have a better relationship with food when it came to certain things in my life. So the better that you understand why you do certain things the way that you do, the better you can equip yourself to be like, okay, these are my emotions, these are my feelings, and you will allow them from running your life. You will allow them from running pretty much how we call the show, right? You have to ask yourself, am I taking responsibility for my actions today? Am I taking responsibility for my emotions today? Or am I letting those emotions take over me to such a point that I am placing blame, and that I'm so blinded by them that I don't really see how I'm treating people, how I'm treating myself, how other people around me are affected because of it, right? And that takes me back to visiting like my values and my beliefs. Like, I do want to let you know this, and recently it's been at my heart, like, you can't be upset that, you have so much on your plate when the goal was to eat. I truly believe that, when we're asking, okay, I want a job, right? Like, I am ready. And now you have 10 job interviews, or maybe that job that you do have, now you have a promotion, but now you have other people pulling you from different ways. You can't complain that your plate is full if all you wanted to do was eat. So the plates of life, I truly believe, are going to be constantly spinning around you. You're going to be constantly asking yourself so many different questions. I know that I do. I ask myself questions every single day. And then if I find value in those questions, I make sure I ask my team, I ask my kids, I ask my husband, I ask out loud, because I want to know answers to the questions that I have. Do I get all the answers? Absolutely not. And that's why I'll never stop asking questions. So when we juggle different things, whether it's our marriage, our works, our meetings, our bills, especially now in a day and age where we mainly do a lot of things from our phone. I work from my phone. I work from Wi-Fi. I get to work from anywhere. I get to show other people that. I get to send emails, phone, text messages. I literally have to put my phone on do not disturb when I am recording, because I will literally have 100 messages come in, and I will easily become distracted if I allow it of myself, right? So it takes such an amount of energy and focus to focus on the task at hand, focus on what's in our face, but to then keep everything else from crashing to the ground as we're trying to focus on that one thing. For example, if I'm trying to be a mom, like an amazing mom that day, I'm not saying that I'm not an amazing mom, but if my focus is maybe more on my kids that day, I have to make sure that my phone is on do not disturb. I have to make sure that I give a solid hour, when we're watching movie night. I have to make sure that my kids know that I am there for them and that I am paying attention. Maybe other nights is date night, so I have to make sure, luckily my husband understands the type of business that I do because he does this business with me. So sometimes our date nights consist of us, maybe we'll plug in a movie or a show and we'll watch it. Most of the time we kind of look at each other and we're like, okay, let's kind of finish the things that we told ourselves we were going to do today, and like, let's just enjoy each other's company while we do so. So it really depends on your values, what you value, what your standards are. If you value a party, maybe your life is going to be completely run by you're just wanting to have fun. Maybe if you value a marathon, your life is going to be really about enduring a lot of things, hard things, easy things, learning how to build endurance in a gym setting, outside, etc. So what are your values? What are your values and your standards, and making sure that you're maintaining? And I know that people are like, ask all the time, how do I keep balance? Honestly, I don't really believe in balance. I believe that balance is whatever you create your balance to be for that day. And that balance is what's going to grab your attention and keep your attention and keep you focused and remind you, from the inside outside, to check yourself and revisit those things that you're struggling to check off your to-do list. So I will give you a tip. I do not have to-do lists. I have will-do lists. Things that I know for a fact are going to get done. For example, this podcast, this recording, things that I know I can probably check off and said, this was on my will-do-to list. I felt it in my soul to speak on it. And there it is done. Different things. Some things may be greater. Some things may be minor. But I want you to understand, like, as a business partner, as a speaker, as someone that, you know, I have people on my team, as a wife, as a daughter, as a mom, that we have all of these responsibilities. At the end of the day, you created those responsibilities. You decided to get married. You probably decided to have kids. You know, there's things that you kind of were in control of. You decided to build a 6-figure, 7-figure income business. You decided to have a team. So I feel that sometimes people don't do these things because that stops them. Like, man, I am going to be taking on a whole lot of responsibility. A tip that I can give you is that I reevaluated my values every single time that I did something, and I said, okay, this is for a greater cause. This is for a greater purpose. How can I focus on the here and the now instead of waiting, you know, and stressing myself out with anxiety and doubt and thoughts and fear of what could happen or what couldn't happen. So I make sure that that's the type of balance that I want to keep. I want to make sure that my mental health is at such a great state that I don't jeopardize certain things in my life because I am not checking my heart, my values, my beliefs, and myself. And before you know it, like, you'll start finding yourself doing and saying things deep down that you don't believe about yourself. Like, if you don't check your values, you'll start acting like the person that you hang out with the most, and you'll start wanting, unintentionally, when I was younger, I used to hang out with a friend that stuttered, and I started coming home stuttering, and I had to catch myself. I remember this bright as day. I was like 16, and I'm like, why are you stuttering? Like, you speak good. It's not that I'm faulting someone that stutters. It's just I picked it up, and it was a habit. Whether it was good or whether it was bad, it didn't matter. But I started to realize, wow, you really do become the people you hang out with. So how can I show what I was born to do? I wasn't really born to stand out. I wasn't really born to fit in. I was born to stand out. And once you create these thoughts in your head, you start to deep down believe these things about yourself, especially if maybe the way that you were raised, you know, the core values weren't necessarily the best things that were taught to you. So then you start to believe things about yourself that others have said, which is not really about you. It's a projection of them. But then you start to believe, well, maybe this is me too, right? And until you really are very clear on your values, until you're really clear on your purpose, then that can be a challenge in your life every single day. So from time to time, I have to check my values. I have to check my heart. I have to check my emotional state of being. I have to check my creativity. If you would only knew where I am recording this episode from, you would laugh. But it was a suggestion that my husband made that I was like, this is really good. I got this. And it wasn't because it was my initial choice of recording this episode. It was because there were circumstances around me, like the birds outside, that were making so much noise that wouldn't allow it of me. But I knew that I had so much value to bring to you today that there was no way that it was not going to happen. So he gave me a tip. I ran with it. And I hope that it sounds as good as it feels to me right now to give you guys a little value that has helped me come such a long way. So from time to time, I really want you to check in with yourself and jot down some core beliefs and values. Literally ask yourself, like, what values do I want to live my life by? You know, list what those beliefs are. And I want to let you know that over time, these things might change, but they might even get deeper. For me, things have gotten deeper. I separate things in a couple of columns and I list like my core beliefs. What are your beliefs? What are your values? You can go either way. And then I decided that there's things in my life that aren't really a belief to me anymore, because sometimes those beliefs became limitations and I allow those things to become limitations. If you didn't listen to the podcast that I talked about, money is the root of all evil, ... I suggest you do. That was a belief in my life. I believed that money was the root of all evil because I saw certain things in my life when I was younger and that I didn't like. Until I realized that it's the love of money, until I was exposed to more, until I saw people that, you know, didn't let that limit how they use that money for good or use that money to give back or help other people. So If you haven't watched that episode, I suggest you go all the way back and re-listen to it. So I want you to do this every time, maybe between your daily or your monthly or your week, right? Do this weekly to give yourself a little boost of self-awareness. Give yourself a little boost of confidence and allow yourself to say, you know what, before I make this decision, does it match up with my values? And then seek help. Allow yourself to be and seek mentorship from people that maybe you're not necessarily trying to trade your life for theirs, but you've seen them probably go through some things or you haven't, and maybe it's happened in front of you and you're asking yourself, wow, like how were they able to handle their emotions? How were they able to answer so clearly and precise and with such mannerism? And I have to ask myself, you know, I go and I seek those type of people because they probably have gone through a lot more things that I have. They probably have checked themselves a lot more. They probably real foundational in their core values and beliefs. So it allows me to have a little insight of what was it that helped you that could possibly help me that then I can give to someone else so they can pass it on and help other people. So I had to real check myself, like that is going to take heart work. No one can make you want to work on your heart. No one can make you want to work on your pride. No one can make you want to work on your ego. I think that takes experience. I think that takes knowledge that turns into wisdom. I think that takes messing up a couple of times or more to realize maybe I really need to check myself. Maybe that friend that was trying to help me out and challenge me actually loved me a lot more than the people that continue to tell me it was okay when I knew it wasn't okay to be overweight, when I knew that my health was getting jeopardized, when I knew that, you know, I was doing something I wasn't supposed to, when I knew that I should have taken and I said yes to the business opportunity, when I knew that there was other things in my life that I wanted to do and they were like, nah, you have enough time. Maybe that friend or maybe that person, maybe that that coach, maybe that someone, right? Maybe this podcast, right, may value you a little bit more without even knowing you to your core than that person that continuously tells you it's okay when you know deep down in your heart that it's not okay. So self-awareness to me is just an internal process. There's some few instances I truly believe that on the outside, like you're going to get some clues. Again, you're going to be sent people into your life that are going to kind of check you. But until you really check yourself, until you look at your facial expressions, your demeanor, your clothes, how your mood is, that plays such an important role. Like when I wake up and I have the ability to work from anywhere, there's days that I just want to be in my sweats all day. I love being comfortable. What happens when I'm too comfortable? I am not productive. And then when I'm not productive and I don't produce the way that I want to produce to my level of standards, I get upset. And when I get upset, everyone around me in my household is upset. Why? Because I didn't take responsibility to check myself that day and say, you know what? Today, this is what I'm going to get done. I'm going to wake up. I'm going to have my tea. I'm going to read. I'm going to work on my mind. I'm going to work on my soul. And then, you know what? Maybe I'll get dressed. Maybe I'll still be in sweats, but I'll pick up my hair and I'll wash my face and I'll do some self-care love in the morning. I'll put on some lip gloss and I will feel better about myself. Even if I didn't go anywhere that day. Even if I didn't go anywhere, I make sure that I want to look and feel my very best so I can check myself. You know, this is kind of like superficial, but I do want to let you know that your physical appearance, it is the most straightforward, the clearest thing that someone can see on you before anything else. For example, I had a friend tell me a long time ago about her sibling in the medical field, and she literally said she test tried this, that she went straight for a week, just no makeup, in scrubs, hair was okay, you know, she was still in a happy mood, and the doctors, you know, were doctors, you know, they got the information. The following week, she dressed up, put lip gloss, did her hair, still in a great mood, and she noticed such a difference because unfortunately, the way that life is, physical appearance matters. Physical appearance is the first thing that people are going to see. I am not telling you that you have to go out and spend money on clothes or that you have to go to high-end stores. I'm just saying, like, practice in the mirror and allow yourself to say, you know what, today is going to be an amazing day. Today I am checking myself. Today I'm going to establish a clear and pretty message on how I feel, right? So allowing yourself to, you know, to be in a demeanor where it lets people know that, it lets people understand that you can still be you, and at the end of the day, you still have value to bring, right? So your demeanor says a lot about your mood, period. How you, like, if you're telling someone you're happy and your hands are crossed and you have a sour face on your face, I'm really pretty much going to go off of your demeanor versus the things that you're telling me of like, yeah, it's going great, right? So the messages can sometimes be twisted. So honestly, if I'm meeting someone for the first time and I'm feeling insecure, and I don't feel like this, and I'll tell you why I don't feel like this. Someone had recently reminded and reset my brain. So it has really allowed me to be like, wow, I get it now, right? And you're feeling insecure. Maybe you've never met this person. Maybe this person makes a lot of money or is super successful, right? And you're feeling insecure about how you're going to be received by this person. If you don't talk to them, or your hands are crossed, or you're not looking up, or you're not saying anything, sometimes people take that wrong. Maybe they think you're standoffish or, certain things. So something that really checked me, and I hope that it checks you, because we're talking about checking your heart, and this is the last point that I'm going to make today. I heard this woman say, I love when women approach me and ask me clear questions. I love when people don't think that I am more than them. She pretty much said, we are not more than anyone else. Come to me as a person. Don't come to me as a fan. Don't ever put anyone on a pedestal, because no one deserves that type of energy. People are like you just because maybe they have more skills than you, they have more degrees than you, they have certain things that maybe you wish you had. I had to learn. I was like, wow, this woman that I know makes millions of dollars is telling us, is encouraging us, is giving us that wisdom and saying, don't ever put anyone on a pedestal. And when she said that, my entire energy level of, wow, how would I ever ask anything of this person? It wasn't like it decreased. Her value increased to me because of how she made me feel about myself and how I handle other people in other situations. So again, allowing yourself, sometimes people don't reach out over social media because they're scared, or they have fear, is she going to respond? Or maybe she has too many clients, and she's going to help me. What I want to let you know, that you will only get that type of response if that's how you feel about yourself. So you have to ask yourself, am I projecting my feelings? Am I projecting my emotions? Am I really checking myself? Am I taking a moment here and there to check my heart, to check my mind, to check my soul, to really allow myself to understand my mood, my energy, and my feelings before it sets the tone for me for the rest of my day? And that's something that I practice every single morning. And does it go that way every day? Absolutely not. But I have to check myself a couple times throughout the day and say, I could be better in this area. I shouldn't have done this, but now that it's done, what can I do from here to bring glory, to just be better, to not do this again, to not let little things irk me? I'll give you an example. When my gas tank is on E because I ask a certain someone to fill it up, to make sure that it's filled up. So when I maybe go to the gym at 5 o'clock in the morning, I don't want to stop at a gas station early in the morning. And I had to take a look at myself and say, well, why didn't you take the responsibility to make sure that you checked it, to make sure that it was full, so then you don't catch a mood checking myself? And stop asking of other people, so then I know that I have to, if I want it done, do it for me. And essentially, you will build a standard for yourself, for your relationship, for your family, for your kids, for your team, based on the things that you choose to do, but also based on the things that you choose not to do. And for me, that's reacting. And for me, that's hopefully not allowing my emotions to get the best of me. But remember, you have to check yourself. Check yourself every single day. You're going to a job that maybe you dislike right now, but you were begging, the universe to have something steady that you can put food on your table. Well, now you have this job and now you have this responsibility. The goal was to eat, so you can't complain that your plate is full. All you can do is become better in the process. Check yourself, check your mood, so it can make sure that it sets the tone again for you for the rest of the day. So wherever you're at right now, whether it's night or day, whether it's this year or in 10, 15, 25 years, check yourself. Allow yourself, move the phone from your face while you're listening to this and streaming through social media at the same time, right? Or doing 5 other things and say, okay, am I checking myself daily? Am I aware of my surroundings? Do I really care about how I feel? Because how I feel and what I show myself is how I probably treat other people as well. So I cannot wait for you guys to listen to the rest of the season. I am so beyond excited. And again, if you haven't gone over to my Instagram, I will spell it out for you at OTTERSBACHS at OttersBox. Leave me a message. Let me know what you're continuously allowing yourself to be aware of and applying into your life that is helping you.